I'll introduce myself. I'm probably just going to sit down. Do I have the microphone? Right. Okay, it works. Okay. I think I'll just sit down and give people a minute to move around. Okay. Okay. My name is Bill Proudfit, and I'm going to talk about open data. And I've lived in Hong Kong for about 25 years, so I kind of count myself as really a local person. And so first off, I just want to apologize. My presentation is not going to be so smooth. I kind of decided that I would try and use Prezi for the very first time, and I really don't know what I'm doing. Is there a link further down? What? I thought I could just... I can't hear you. Sorry.
Click on present for 9 months more.
Click here, right?
Yeah, try it. And then let's start online.
Oh, start. Oh, okay. It's the very first time I've used it. Maybe I should use my mouse. So it's a little rugged, I hate to tell you. But anyway, I don't have a lot of slides. I'm primarily going to just talk about Data.One. My background is I'm not a real technology person at all. I call myself a knowledge manager, and that's what I do. I sort of work in a big company as a knowledge manager, and I've done that for many, many years. So, let's see. And so that's my background, and I've been interested in open data for a couple of years, particularly since the Hong Kong government opened up Data.One a few years ago. So my topic here is it useful for the open source community in Hong Kong? So the thing about open data is that I believe that a lot of people working in open source don't even know that it exists, and I think that that's open data is the flip side of open source in my view. So today we find ourselves in the midst of an open data revolution. That's Rufus Pollock from 2004. And Rufus Pollock, he was one of the co-founders of a group called the Open Knowledge Foundation Network, which is really kind of one of the core groups around the world that's supporting open data, open knowledge, open source. They're based in Cambridge in the UK, and they are quite active, and there are chapters and groups all around the world. So it's worth kind of paying attention to Rufus. So what is open data? Well, first off, and I mean this is something that Rufus said last year at the LIFT conference. I can't really remember what the LIFT conference is. A piece of data is open if anyone is free to use, reuse, and redistribute it, subject only at most to a requirement to attribute and share alike. Anyone means anyone. And this is really important, that this is a kind of a short and succinct definition of open data. Use and research, use and redistribution are critical. And that anyone means anyone. You can't start putting restrictions on it. You can't sort of say it's for education purposes only, or for, and sometimes even in the open data community, people have gotten upset because people have taken open data sources that are sort of like groups that they don't agree with. People who are sort of promoting nuclear energy have used open data to promote their position. And then, these people kind of say, oh, well, you can't do that. Because you can see what's happening, because it becomes a political agenda. There's no political agenda with open data. If it's open, then you can do whatever you want to do with it. So, data, if you look at this painting, which is my painting, it's kind of one of my favorite paintings, it has lots of data there. So, you've got 6 objects, and 3 of them are shaded and 3 of them are not. And 4 of them are long and 2 of them are short. And 4 of them are grouped together and 2 are outliers. And you could measure them in all kinds of different ways and create a huge amount of data sets from this simple little picture, which is, just kind of almost minimal. So data can be anything. And this is an important point that I think most people in the technology field understand this, but I think maybe other people don't quite get that data can be made out of anything. And once you have collected this data, and if you have used it and reused it and redistributed it, can become extremely valuable. And this is one of the things that I think has happened when Rufus Pollock was saying in 2004 that we're in the midst of a open data revolution. I would sort of say that maybe it's not so much a revolution as a road, that we are moving down this long, long road where what's happened over the last 30 years is that the shoe has dropped and all of this data has been collected for one purpose, but it can be reused for all kinds of other purposes. So it's a big journey. Now, there's 3 good sources. The Open Data Handbook, the Open Knowledge Foundation Network, and Hong Kong Open Data. I'm just going to do it this way. The Open Data Handbook is an extremely good source of information about open data. It's been translated into all of these languages, both kinds of Chinese, and it's very valuable to take a look at if you're interested in open data. So if you go here, and it talks about what is open data. Now, it's nice to say that there's a short 1-paragraph definition of open data, but in reality, if you start working in the open data field, you will find out that there's a huge amount of controversy over what is open and what is not open, and the licensing requirements around it, and all of these issues. And this is what the Open Knowledge Foundation Network is really working on. But to start, if you're interested in open data, I would look at the Open Data Handbook. And availability and access, reuse and redistribution, universal participation are all critical. It needs to be interoperable so that it can be used in different platforms. And it's also important that it's data that is not personalized. And this is because it cannot, you can get into all kinds of personal data privacy issues. The Open Knowledge Foundation Network, this is their website. They have all kinds of working groups, local groups. The Hong Kong Open Data is a local group. They have all kinds of task force, labs. They run events. They just had a huge event in Geneva. They're going to have a big festival in Berlin next year. They're constantly running workshops. And their projects. Their big project is CCAN. And CCAN is an open source software solution that runs some of the world's largest open data sets. Data.gov in the USA is run on CCAN. I can't remember what the UK government's one is exactly called, but it's also running on CCAN. And so this is one of their big things. And their School of Data is really excellent. They have all kinds of sort of threaded courses that you can take and learn about data, and I've taken several of those. A little bit I know is from there. They're working on this big open spending where they're trying to track government financial transactions. It would be a very useful thing for someone to do in Hong Kong. So I just want to say, to give you a little flavor, to keep an eye out on the Open Knowledge Foundation network. Hong Kong Open Data has been around only for about 8 months. There's 263 members as of today. Their main platform is this Google Plus platform. And they meet every 3 weeks in Wan Chai, and if you're interested, I say get involved, and you'll learn a lot about open data in Hong Kong. Now, what I really want to talk about in some detail is Data.One, which is the Hong Kong government's open data portal. It was launched in March 2011, and it has at least 1,350 unique data sets that are available for commercial use at no cost to the user. And when I've been sort of talking to people in the development field for the last sort of year and a half or so, I noticed that people sort of say, oh, what's Data.One? Somebody was here earlier, I think they left. Oh no. So I said, what is it? Where'd you get that? Well, what's Data.One? I don't think that the government has done a great job of sort of publicizing that this resource exists. And I want us to take a little look at it. My links don't work in my presentation. Let's see. It probably won't work today. Okay, no, it did. Now, this is the landing page for Data.One. And they have their data sets. And these are the high-level descriptions of what they have. Air pollution indices, buildings, charitable fundraising activities, so on and so forth. And I think that what happens is people come in here and they sort of see, you can open up all of them, and then they see these, and they think, oh, well there's only, each one of these is one data set. But this is not true. If you go down in here, for instance, and find the population and census statistics, the 2011 population statistics main tables, it will link you in to the main tables for the population and census statistics, and there's hundreds of them. Hundreds and hundreds of them. They're all available for download. You can use them in all kinds of different ways. And I think that if we look at them quickly, some of them they're in all kinds of different formats. Some of them are in RSS feeds. It's not really very useful. Some of them are in XML. Some are CSV. Some are just web service, just kind of like, I guess you would call that an API, someone may correct me. Now, some of them are just libraries of pictures, but they're all potentially useful. Now, one of the things I want to say is, as part of the Make event that was held in May of this year, run by the Hong Kong Open Data people, I worked with a small team of people that we got together and we evaluated the Data.One site, and we created this huge report. And so this is my link from a little blog that I run. And so we had a summary report, and we divided it up into 4 main reports with a link to Data.One. We evaluated the user interface, okay, and we assessed it against a World Bank assessment tool. We evaluated all of the data sets for content relevance in the format of them, and Hagen So helped us with this. And we also looked at we took a sample of data sites around the world and evaluated them. And we came up with an analysis and a summary report. And we gave this report to the government. And of course the government kind of acknowledged it and they said, great, thank you for doing that. We had talked to them before the event and we had gotten them to come to the event basically by sort of twisting their arm a bit. But they did come. And, but what I noticed is I worked on it, Michael Chan, Yolanda, Jinshin Ma, and Hagen Sub, you all probably know. User experience. We went over it and we said, the site really needs some help with the way it interacts with the user. And in fact, about 2 months ago, they changed. One of our big things was about the searching. So we said, you can't find the searching. You can't find it anywhere. And so they moved it up. And so that was a big change. Now they didn't come and tell us that we did this in response to your report, but I'm pretty sure they did. And so I think that was good. We talked to them about the content relevance of it. And we pointed out that the World Bank has come up with a set of criteria for saying these are the kinds of data sets that you should be offering. And our observations were that 5 of the World Bank areas were covered, which is only 31%. 4 of them were partially covered, okay? But 7 of them were not covered at all. Okay, but then in the last couple of months they've added on a couple more data set areas, marine traffic and some other things. So what I want to say is that the Hong Kong government is listening, okay, and so you do have it's not that they just ignore us. One of the big things about the government data and open data in general is it's very heavily uses geo data. What do you guys call it? The geolocation data. Well, at the MAKE event, there was the Geodex team, project team, and they were getting data from the government data sites. And what they noticed was that what's kind of happened in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has been very forward-thinking over the last 30 or 40 years. The Hong Kong government has developed its own Geo Reference format, a long time before Google was ever around. Okay, and this is not. So what they have their own format. So if you now want to use any of the geo data sites, there's 79 of them available from the Hong Kong government. They're great. But they're apparently, from a technical point of view, they're in a truly bizarre format. And so, they're tab-separated value table coordinates encoded with something called the Hong Kong 1980 grid coordinate system. So you can see how long this has been around. So we made a big point about telling Data.One that this should be changed. Now, they haven't changed it yet, but I would say that anybody who is using geo-reference data should go to the Hong Kong government Data.One site and contact them and tell them that we want this changed. And I think they will change it. But remember, what they're changing is not something simple. This is 79 geodata sets that have been there in use starting since 1980. So it's a huge, change. So that was kind of one thing that came out of the report. The last thing I just want to leave us with is how does Hong Kong stack up? I think in Hong Kong there's a kind of a tendency to sort of say, oh, everything's better in London, everything's better in New York, everything's better in Sydney or somewhere like this. Well, you know, I don't buy that at all. This is the city open data census ranking cities around the world and their open data. Well, Hong Kong ranks quite high. You know, it really is. You know, it's really quite good. It's better than London. It's better than Amsterdam. Okay, so you know, so we should think about this and not. I think sometimes in Hong Kong we have a tendency to sort of say, oh, you know, it would be better someplace else, and it's just not good. So that's what I got. Few minutes for questions.
What can we do to make this even better?
Well, I think the big thing you can do is interact with the OG CIO Data.One people. I mean, I'll give you my contact details. You can always find me. I mean, anyone can find me. I'm so transparent. All you have to do is type in my name on the web. Bye, guys. You can type my name on the web and find me. But the OG CIO is very receptive to what's happening here. They have 3 people who are assigned to the Data.One project. I mean, they do other things, but they are paying attention to it, and it is one of the things that they promote. You know, there is the Digital 21 Strategy Report, which is now in the consultation. I think the consultations are due later in November. And that has a section on open data. So it would be a good idea to get the Hong Kong government's Digital 21 strategy. This is their second iteration of that report. And respond to it and say, oh, you know, we think this is important. So, I mean, I do think that they're paying attention.
So the role is to push the government.
Yeah, I'm just sort of, I would say, an activist. And I've been sort of interested in this for a couple of years. What?
Charles is not here. Charles Mall.
Oh yeah, Charles is not here. Although I heard from Charles yesterday. He said he was going to come.
Really?
Yeah.
Because this is all under this organization.
Yeah. No, I heard from Charles yesterday. He said he would try to come, but Charles is so busy. I feel sorry for the man sometimes. He's so busy. Yeah. So I mean, I just think you just have to keep pushing them anyway. They really do pay attention to their suggestions. And this report, which is a huge report with all kinds of bits and pieces, I can start to see them responding. So we're not being ignored. I think it's significant to this that what they're offering now is pretty good, but you can see all the holes. Okay, annual budget. Although they're going to start offering the annual budget the next iteration, they've said that. Election results and expenditure. Okay. Crime statistics. There's a big hole in the open data world in Hong Kong because the police department, I've done some other private work with the police department. Trust me, they have all kinds of statistics about crime. And they will actually give them to you if you ask for them. It's not like they won't give them to you. You can just ask them and they'll give them to you quite readily, but they don't seem to have quite gotten on to the open data idea. But this is a big one. And health statistics. There's a lot of talk in Hong Kong about improving the healthcare system, which is already excellent, but it could be better. But healthcare statistics could be opened up. What tends to happen in Hong Kong a lot of times is that there is data available if you approach a specific government department, but it's not available through Data.One. And then but having it available through Data.One puts it under the umbrella of being available for commercial use. So sometimes if you go and ask for data from a government department, they will provide you the data, but then they will give restrictions on it. And that's not really very good. So the umbrella of Data.One gives us the right to use it for commercial purposes. Okay? Anything else? Good. Thank you.
Are there any applications that are used?
Oh, I didn't mention that. There are many applications that have been developed. I mean, these guys have developed a great one. I think that was just wonderful. Really, it was really great. Oh, this is really great.
It should
They've
change
gone.
back.
But the other thing is that if you use the big success story, oh no, that's not one. The big success story for Data.One are the traffic ads. Okay, for those of you who drive cars, which is not me, but if you drive a car in Hong Kong and you use those traffic apps that tell you what the traffic is like at the tunnels or in certain parts of town at certain times, all of that is being provided through data sets that are available through Data.One. All of that is available through Data.One. Every one of those applications is using free data sets from all the cameras, and it's being fed in real time, and they're incredibly helpful about helping application developers access that data. And so that's a big success story, because there's at least 25 applications running in Hong Kong that people can download and use for that. It's all being based on open data. Okay, that's all. Thank you. So Louis, what have you been doing? Yeah, I know you were really busy. You're in Chinese tea? Chinese tea? Oh, HKSOC. Well, you're next.